P2B, while reacting to the sealing and eventual reopening of Sahad stores in Abuja by agents of the government, told Tinubu to leave business owners alone and fix the economy. He said, quote, "The closure was not a well thought out option in the first place. Going forward, I would like to again advise the government to avoid any further show of rascally behavior that brings more pain to the people. The earlier selling off of the business, just like pulling down people's houses and many uncaring and insensitive actions of the government, are not what we need as a nation at this time of extreme difficulties in the land. The government should rather focus on saving the nation from further collapse and on building the economy, rather than engaging the rascal actions that portray the administration as heartless and thoughtless to the litany of challenges facing the Nigerian people. We are at a time in our country where local businesses are closing down and foreign investors are losing faith in our economy due to not perceiving further growth in the economy and stability in the system. More people are being thrown into unemployment and poverty, with unemployment rates soaring higher than ever before. Should we then be taking actions that will undermine the existence of the few remaining businesses we have and throw more people into unemployment? The many outcries by citizens in different states over the rising cost of living should nudge the government into visible actions that will ameliorate the pains of the people. I urge the government to take urgent actions to stem the rising tide of hunger in the nation and ensure sufficient production of goods and services." Unquote. Tinubu pulled a Buhari of 1984. How did it work out for Buhari at the time? What does hoarding mean? A businessman will always keep replenishing his stock as fast as he can sell them. Anyway, this is a reminder of how things have changed the past decade. Let's hear P2B's analysis.
A loaf of bread in 2009-2010 is between 100 to 150 naira. Today, a loaf of bread is 1,000 naira. So you could see the change. Transport, if you're going from, say, Lagos to Abuja or Onitsha, where I live, to Abuja, in 2010, you're going to be paying about 10,000. Today, you're talking about 20-something. So everything, if you're those who can afford to fly, it was 15,000 then. Now it's 100-something thousand. So things have changed drastically. In 2009, I bought buses. Nissan buses that I gave, innocent buses that just in 2010, I bought them about 5 million naira. Today, those buses are selling for something, 50 million naira. So this has changed drastically. We have less than 70 million Nigerians living in poverty in 2009-2010. Today, Nigerians that live under poverty, World Bank I just reported a few days ago, is 104. Multidimensional poverty have increased to about 140 something. I can go on and on. You can't compare that time and today. Things has gotten worse. There's critical areas. Our inflation have moved from a single digit to now we're almost hitting 30 something because prices of food have gone up drastically. Unemployment in 2009 was about between 10-12%. Today, you have unemployment hitting almost 40. You can see the situation you find yourself. Our GDP per capita have collapsed. Comparably in 2009-2010, we are at par with countries like Vietnam, even Indonesia. Bangladesh was below us. But today they've also passed us. Things has gotten worse. So you have to look at your priority, reorganize your priority. You don't go and start doing things that you used to do when you have privilege of eating a buffet, when you have very tiny money to just buy yourself a very basic a la carte. So you go for it.
Now, this one is still relevant. Let's hear P2B's advice or schooling of Tinubu on where he should invest money to see immediate results. He said this when their misplaced budgetary allocations was revealed. Many times you hear people questioning P2B's patriotism. They keep asking him to suggest ideas to Tinubu that opposition shouldn't be all about criticizing the government and many other funny things they say. Let's take a listen.
All these billions we have now should be invested in critical areas of development, which is number one, health, number two, education, number three, pulling people out of poverty. Imagine what 15 billion naira can do to improve our primary health care. Imagine what 15 billion naira can do if you give it to National Hospital to invest in their equipment. Imagine what you would do if you share it to major teaching hospitals of Zaria, Ibadan, Enugu, all. So there's so many things we can use it to do that is important now. Imagine what it can do in our area of education, basic education. Imagine what you can do if you decide to use it to pull people out of poverty by investing it in SMEs. There's so much you can achieve with that. And that is why I said, no, not now. We don't need it now. We can use it for something else that will go a long way in helping the nation. You should reprioritize it. I have been in that situation. When I became governor of Anambra State, go ask anybody. We have a big, I think Governor Soludo is trying to complete it now. We have a major project which is supposed to be governor's lodge, government office, everything. When they brought it to me, I said, listen, we can't embark on this for now. We have critical things to do. I recall telling somebody, because within 1 month I became governor, Nigerian Legal Council shut down our faculty of law in our state university. And I recall telling somebody, look at it now, our faculty of law is shut down, and you're talking about going to continue building that lodge. Now, since there's none available, I'm going to renovate what is there presently, renovate the office that is there presently, and go ahead aggressively and see that all these facilities are there. I built that faculty of law, which again will require improvements as time goes on. I built it under 1 year, just to make sure that those students were not thrown out of school. And there's so many other things that was happening then that we needed to do. We needed to do some critical things, including opening up rural areas so farmers can sell their goods at a better price and everything. Then going to talk about accommodation, renovation, and buying vehicles. And there's so many other items like that in the budget.
Before we hear Peter B's other ideas to Tinubu, imagine what we could achieve in Nigeria right now if millions of farmers are able to go back to their farms without fear of insecurity. Food production will go up, prices will definitely come down, food will become more affordable, all the shouts of hunger in the country will obviously disappear. This one happened in Ilorin. Thousands of people trooped out at the Emir's palace shouting they are hungry. Now, this brings us to Peter B's position on the thousands, if not millions, of internally displaced persons living in many camps in Nigeria. We all know that this is the result of insecurity. The government haven't been able to put things under control, not to talk of resettling them back to their homes and communities.
Well, quite frankly, it is a very regrettable position that Nigerians should live in a refugee camp in their own country when we are not at war. It is very, very regrettable. And I said it when we were campaigning. If we had opportunity, we would have aggressively tried to resettle them. We would have aggressively tried to care more about them and everything. Because when I visited most of them last year, all they wanted to hear is that they will go back to their community. That is the most important thing to them. And I think this is where government should concentrate. And that is why I've been on the forefront of criticizing government priorities. Because our priority today should be how to care for those that are suffering, those in IDP camp, the poor ones who don't know where the next meal will come from. That should be our concentration today, not on trying to see that those who are already living well are even getting more, when millions of people don't know where the next meal will come from. So for me, it is to continue to push through the various agencies of government by advocacy that these people needs to go back.
Now, on what the government should be doing with all the money they are borrowing, instead of just focusing on taxing everyone. If they are able to implement P2B's ideas, they will end up generating even more income and revenue. P2B went down memory lane about how Obasanjo reduced Nigeria's foreign debt, and right now we are owing about $100 billion. Let's take a listen.
Even the present government said they inherited bankruptcy. So it's not just some experts. Everybody have agreed that we're bankrupt, and everybody knows we're bankrupt. If you're going to use almost 100% of your revenue to service debt, what else you need to know that you're bankrupt? First is that a bankrupt person has to behave like a bankrupt person. And the first thing you do is to cut your cost. You cut your cost. You do things that shows responsibility of going through difficulty. The way we're going today is not the way somebody who is bankrupt or near bankrupt should be going. I've said it repeatedly. The cost of governance in Nigeria is criminal. Those ways have to be cut off. I'm saying this because I practice it at a lower level, subnational level, where you have difficulties that you have to manage your resources more efficiently. Ensure that you invest more in productive area in order to be able to manage your situation. Today we're borrowing money. A country in 2007, when President Obasanjo became president in 1999, Nigeria was owing about $27-29 billion. By the time he left, we were down to below $2 billion. Today, our dollar debt is about 47 billion. By the time you add the local currency, we now have almost 100 billion debts in our hand, and we're borrowing more. And you're borrowing this money. The reason why all this borrowed money is not giving us problem is because we didn't invest it. We didn't put it into critical development areas. It was for consumption. So for me, the first thing to do is to apply the brakes on this consumption completely and focus on ensuring that all borrowed money are used in critical areas of development that is productive, that will impact on growth. Because that's the only way you can start turning things around in order to be able to generate more revenue, service these debts, reduce it, and everything. So for me, first is that we have to cut aggressively cost of governance. Management of Son, I was the first governor to win one of the year in 2006. In 2006, 2007, and today I'm coming back. When they came for this award, I didn't ask them for more purpose. But I thank God, I dedicate this award to all the suffering poor Nigerians who don't know. And continue to all of us who are gathered here to always remember all of us who are in government. Remember all of us in your prayers. And your prayer point is, let God allow us, be with us, to use public money for public good.
All right, we proceed to the next award.